Hello, and welcome to Phase 1 of creating a debris field for Jabba's sail barge. I've brought along Hans since he is an expert at navigating asteroid fields, and thought he could help us navigate creating this debris field as well. Phase 1 is for the debris that comes to rest under the sail barge when it's destroyed. Phase 2 will be individual flying debris during the random explosions, and Phase 3 will be mass flying debris when the sail barge blows up. There are many steps to this process, but I thought it was best to present it all in one video. So Han's going to grab his blaster here and we'll take a preview of what we're going to create. Get our random explosions. This will be Phase 2 with the individual flying debris. Our mass explosion, and there is our Phase 1 debris field. The smoke plumes and smoking flames. I think that looks pretty cool. You can see a couple pieces sliding off into the Sarlacc pit there. So this is our objective today, to create this debris field and all of the associated effects. I have a couple of housekeeping items. Using this trigger area to cue changes in the music between the Sandcrawler music and the Sarlacc pit music. And that was connected to the boombox. We're going to keep the boombox, but I'm going to delete out this trigger area because we're going to use the events of the game to make the changes in music. So you can do the same as you like if you desire. And then all of this logic, in order to create our debris field, we need to move it out of the way. So I elected to move mine down below the terrain and pull it away from the sail barge. So the first thing I want to do is hit my button here to make the sail barge disappear, just so I can see where to align my logic underneath. I don't want it too close, crowding and cramping the sail barge. So this is about how I set up my my logic. Pulled it straight down and moved it back a bit. This is the logic gate that turns on the path. This one turns off the path and resets it. And this is the logic gate that triggers the entire explosion sequence. That will be the key for logic gate for the gameplay. And I've used those decorations to mark those logic gates. I've also moved our boombox and enemy generator and the doorway to the interior down below. Not sure if this enemy generator will stay the same for the gameplay, but we'll keep it for now. We'll definitely need the boombox, and I'm going to keep the door to the interior space just in case I ever have any glitches with the interior piece, the control panel for the desert skiff, so I can replace it if necessary. Alright, so we can see all our locators here for the explosions. It gives us a good idea of what the footprint of the sail barge is. So we're actually going to create our debris field above the train, and then we'll later move these move the path points. So I'm going 2 over from the path creator for the sail barge. I'm going to place it there one spot above the ground and just extend this up. Doesn't really matter how far. And then we'll go ahead and exit out, and we'll set the speeds here and the properties. So for our path creator, we're going to use the same logic as the path creator for the sail barge. So active will be on, auto start objects when connected will be turned off. And we'll make the speed 300 for the path creator, which is its top value. And then we'll go down to our path point options and we'll make that speed 1000, which is the highest value for that. Because just like the sail barge disappearing below the train, I want the debris field to come from below the train up to the surface as fast as possible. Alright, we'll go back up to our top path point and we'll adjust its speed as well to 1000. Alright. Now we're going to get a couple of logic gates to control this path. I'm using these now so that I can independently test the debris field without affecting the sail barge or anything else. Later on at the end of this video, I have a 5-minute clip for doing logic cleanup. You can either leave these or keep them. I'm going to delete them out and redo the connections, but for now we'll hook these up. So on this first one on output, we will send a signal to our path creator here to reset and play, and that will make the debris field move up from under the ground up to the surface as the sail barge disappears. And on this one on output, this will be our reset logic gate, and we'll go ahead and do a reset and stop, so when we replay the level it will disappear back below the ground again. And let's go ahead and move these a little bit further back, give ourselves some more space for our debris field. Should have done that in the first place. I'm going to grab a couple buttons here just so we can test this independently. One will be our on button, the other one will be our reset button. So we'll hook these up. So new logic connection when pressed, we'll input to this first logic gate. And same thing here. When pressed, we will input to the second logic gate to reset. So that's all the logic we need to make the debris field move. Now I've already placed a bunch of pieces here that I'm going to use, and I've mimicked the pieces that we use for the bottom of the hull of the sail barge. So I have an upside down half dome, which was on the front. I have this upside down curve block. Notice the pattern. It looks like, from this perspective, it looks like a W shaped. And if you spin it around, it looks more like an M shaped. So I've oriented my blocks so it has more of a W shape to it in the pattern. So we have a second one of those. And then we have a curved block. It's the opposite of the upside down curved block, and notice once again I have the pattern kind of facing in a W shaped. I'm mixing these up because I want it to look like it's a mangled mess. So we have a couple more of our upside down curve blocks here. Now use whatever blocks you like and however many as you like. Another regular curve block here. You don't have to use my specifications. You can just use how I designed this and hook them up and do it your own way to make your debris field look the way you want it to look. So kind of just continuing with this same theme. Then we have these upside down half domes. I had 3 on the back. I have 2 facing the upside down ones facing the way they were on the sail barge, and this is the right side up one, like it's been flipped around. And then for the side, I've used a number of these wedge blocks, and I've used different orientations. Like that's a right hand side wedge block. This is the upside down one that we used along the sides. This is a left-hand wedge block, another upside down. That's a right side up long wedge block, like it's been flipped around, and another right side long wedge block. And then over on this side, I had to place these blocks off to the side because the bounding boxes of the sail barge, it's like it's still there, so I just had to place this off to the side. So I've kind of repeated this using the upside down, right side up, the right hand and left hand wedge blocks. That's the right side. A couple more upside down ones. Same thing. And this is the left side long wedge block, and then the right side up one. So I just kind of laid it out in a general pattern of how I want to connect these. Now, depending upon the orientation of your blocks and which blocks you use, if you've decided to use different ones, your settings may be different than mine. But we're going to start hooking this up much like we did with the sail barge, but we can make this a lot more random. It doesn't have to fit into exact spaces and to create an exact form. We want it to look like it's been destroyed. So I'm hooking up this first one here in the middle. And in the properties, again, just make it different. You know, be as random as you want to be with it. So it looks like I moved that one +4 on the forward backward. Don't forget your one-way and stops on all of this. And I'm going to work towards the stern first. And we'll just start moving these into positions and separate them. We'll move them left or right, give them a rotation every once in a while. Don't have them perfectly lined up. This one I have to go the negative direction to make it move towards the stern. And you'll see me going back and forth on some of these properties, readjusting them as I go. And this is why I'm building this on top of the train. You notice I'm putting in a rotation in this one and our one-way and stop. I tried doing this below the ground, but the camera angle always wanted to go from the ground looking down, and then you couldn't see what you were doing. So you can build this above the ground, and then once it's complete, then the path points, we can move them. And the blocks will move along with them. So hooking up my next one here in line. Now this is the lengthy part of this because I'm going to go through every one of these block by block just in case somebody who's recreating this, if you want to use my exact design. Again, I always encourage everybody to do it your own way. There I gave it a bit of a horizontal +2. And forward backwards in the positive direction I went to 14. I'm going to rotate that one around a little bit as well. In fact, I'm going to rotate that all the way around to about there, 150. So it's kind of angled the opposite of the other one, 165. We'll give it a one-way and stop. There it is. I actually missed that on 2 blocks, which you'll see in my test. I decided to keep that in my video editing so you can see if you make a similar mistake that it's really not that big of a deal to fix if you forget the one-way and stop. Alright, so hooking up our next one. This one will also go in the negative direction because it's right side up. And looks like I'm going to give it a bit of a horizontal offset. Just so everything isn't perfectly down the center. A little bit of a rotation as well. Mix those up, don't make them all the same. One way and stop. Alright, 2 more blocks to go, and I'm not using the same exact number of blocks that I used to create the sail barge. I think I'm using 7 down the middle and 7 on each side, maybe 8. And that's because I want there to be space between these. I want some of them to be combined together. That one I went 22 on my forward. And one way and stop. And I didn't give that one any rotation because it's nice and blended in with the that right side up curved block. Now the nice thing about this is once you get them set, if you don't like the way it looks, you can always come back to these properties and move each block individually. If you want to move it a little further left, a little further right, if you want to give it more of a rotation or less of a rotation, or forward, backwards, you can change all those properties. So just get a basic design here. I was pretty happy with mine. I do make some adjustments here towards the end of this. I might go back and tweak it some, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out looking. So your first attempt doesn't have to be perfect. And you can see my settings there, so one way and stop again. Horizontal 0, vertical 0, 20. I'm going to move a little further back. It wasn't far enough back, so I went to 27, I think, on this one. Yep. There we go. Alright, this is the last piece for the center line of the stern. go ahead and move that one in position. I didn't want vertical. I grabbed the wrong one. Horizontal, there we go. Move it off to the side a little bit. +3. Give it a bit of a rotation here. Not quite 90. 60 and one way and stop. So I'm kind of liking the way that's looking. And actually I'm going to rotate that around the opposite direction. I think I settled on 300 for this one. There we go. Again, this can be your own choice. So you can see by building this above the ground, you can see where your blocks are going, and you can come back and make adjustments to make it the way you want it to look. Alright, we'll hook up this also stern piece on the right hand side. We'll move that back. Move it out a bit, so minus direction to move it further to the right, plus to make it go backwards towards the stern. And I'll give that a rotation as well. And one way and stop. So now you can kind of see where it is, and if you don't like it, go back and change the property. Yeah, I think I left it like that. Just taking a look at my handiwork here. Alright, I'm going to start connecting up towards the bow here. Like I said, I don't want them all on the center line, so I want to move them a little bit left and right with the horizontal offsets. So I need to move in a negative direction to make it go forward towards the bow. Spin it a little bit till you get an angle that you're happy with. And one way and stop. Alright, next piece, right side up curve block. It's a little bit difficult to point to the path point here, but it stands out pretty well. If you get right into the middle of the block, it'll pick up that path creator point with your spark mode. So this one needs to go the plus direction to make it move forward towards the bow. So this one I'm going to move a little bit to the right side of center. Give it a bit of a rotation as well. And one way and stop. Alright, our next one. This is an upside down curve block, so it should be the minus direction again to make it go forward. Other way, there we go. So it's nice to be able to see what you're doing above the ground here. Settle on about -12. I don't want to run it always rotated the same way, so I think I'm going to spin this one all the way around so it's kind of not the same, it's like angled opposite of that previous block. And I moved it back a little bit. What did I settle on? I guess I'm going to leave it right there, and one way and stop. So by not using the same number of blocks that makes up the sail barge, it leaves these gaps and holes in that, so like it's really been mangled up in the explosions. Again, the upside down curve block in the negative direction to make it go forward. If it goes off your camera views, you might just have to exit and see where it is, and there, just changing to horizontal gave me a better view of it. Like I said, if you're not happy with your properties for your settings, one way and stop again. Just come back and readjust them afterwards. In fact, I think that's what I'm doing here, is going back to make an adjustment to it. Trying to decide how far forward I want this to go. I want it to go a little bit more forward than the footprint of the sail barge. Like it's blown down but outwards a little bit as well. So look up this piece. Upside down half dome. Positive direction for me to make it move forward. I'll adjust its horizontal a little bit, and I'm going to give it a bit of a opposite angled rotation as well. This one I forgot one way and stop, so if you have a similar block here, do your one way and stop. Alright, we'll start working on the right hand side pieces here. I'm starting with the middle one, so you can see I have 7 of these blocks lined up. 7 on the other side as well. So horizontal to move it out towards the right hand side. For the sail barge, these were all set to 4 to be from the center line. So some of them setting a little bit further out, like it's been, like I said, it's been blown down and outwards a bit. Moved it back a little bit. Don't want it to be perfectly even with everything. Just checking rotations here to see which way I like it better. I think I liked it in that orientation, and that's the other block I forgot to do one way and stop. So do your one way and stop on that block as well. Those are the 2 I missed, and you'll see it in my first test. Alright, so move that one out 7 a little bit further. Move it. I think I even went a little further out. Horizontal 8 perhaps. So you can see I'm just kind of visually eyeing it up here and just trying to see where do I like this block, how far out do I want to go. I think I settled on 7, and I gave it a little bit of a rotation as well. My pauses are there because I'm just thinking about what I want. One way and stop, and I think I settled on 30 degrees for its angle. Maybe not. So like I keep saying, this is the good thing about it. If you're not satisfied with it, just go back and readjust it. All right, I think I moved it further out. Yep, I wanted that piece to be a little more separated. Nope. See, I can't make up my mind. Nope. That's the wrong. Alright, next block. I think I'm finally moving on. Making progress. Slowly but surely. Alright, bring that one out to 6 on the horizontal. Move it forward here. Rotate it all the way around here. So I'm trying not to keep consistent angles on these. I think I left it at 330 there. And one way and stop. I originally forgot, but I remembered the second time. Alright, last of these wedge blocks going towards the bow. Move it out again. Plus direction moves it more off to the right. And the plus direction here for forward backward moves it forward. And that's a great view because you can really see where it's going into place. Again, just playing with the angle here to see what looks appealing to me. I think I'll leave it here at 30. 8, 0, 12, and 30. And one way and stop. Now as we move along here, I forgot about those other 3 pieces on the right hand side, so I'm coming over here to the left. It's not until I finish this that I realize I forgot those other pieces, so I'll work on the left side for now. Make sure you get the right path creator as well. It's the one that has the yellow line pointing up towards the sky. And the upside down block 4 was from the center line, so move it out a little bit more. Now I'm adjusting the vertical offsets here, which gave me a problem when I get my path point. Don't adjust the vertical offsets. Don't pay attention to me here. Skip the vertical offsets. Wait until you get your path creator and your path point in the correct positions. Then come back, see where your blocks come to rest in the sand, because they'll be partially submerged. Then come back if you want to make any of your blocks lower in the sand, come back and do the vertical then. Because some of them are almost completely disappear because I made them too low. My objective here was to get them to look like they were sliding down into the opening of the Sarlacc pit. So I do that, I think, for most, if not all of these on this left-hand side. I give them a vertical adjustment. Don't do that. Come back at the end and then make those adjustments to make it lower in the sand. So I went 8 horizontal on that. And forward backwards needs to be positive direction to make it move towards the stern. And I'm going to rotate it around. And some of these I'll actually come back and adjust them to stick out even further horizontally into the opening of the Sarlacc pit there. And one way and stop. Don't forget that. But you can see what I was doing there. I went to different vertical heights just to make them, again, to make them offset a bit. But do that afterwards. Just get them horizontally into position and your forward backward offset into the position you want. Like that one there is going to be a problem for me being -4 when I move the path point. because it's going to be even further below the ground. So positive direction to make it move backwards towards the stern. I think I eventually come back to this one and give it a horizontal offset that makes it go even further out into the opening of the sarlacc pit. So just adjust your horizontal and your forward backwards and kind of get them in that orientation first. And we got to get our one-way and stop. Going to give it a little bit of a rotation. You can work on that too. Find a rotation that you like for it. Like I said, try and don't make them consistent. One-way and stop. Alright, I got these last two pieces here for the stern to go. Now this right side up wedge block needs to go negative horizontal to make it move towards the left, and negative forward backwards to make it move towards the stern. Again, ignore that vertical offset. And I want to move it a little bit further out towards the opening. So horizontal offset, I increased it to -9. And we're going to rotate it around here as well. About 345, I kind of like that, and one-way and stop. I'm having a little bit of problem getting my path point there, but there we go. If you point to the wrong piece, you'll be able to find the correct piece because it'll be the one where all the properties are set to 0. So if you point to the when you have all those pieces in the middle there. So if you grab the wrong one with your spark mode, you'll know it because you'll see that the properties are already set. So just keep pointing until you find the one that's all zeros. And one-way and stop. You can see how I oriented that one. Another right side up long wedge block here, so horizontal negative to make it move towards the left. Ignore the vertical. And positive to make it move forward. And one-way and stop. I don't think I gave that one a rotation. So you can leave some of them have 0 rotation. You see I've mangled them up pretty well. So having a straight one every once in a while is okay. Alright, the upside down one, we're back to a positive direction for the horizontal. And to move forward for me, it's a negative direction towards the bow. And I think this one, we'll go ahead and spin this one around a bit. I'm looking at there is I don't want it to be the same angle as that center piece. I want it to be a bit different. I think I settled about there. And one-way and stop. Alright, we got to get our other 3 pieces over here that I originally forgot. This will go towards the stern on the right hand side of the sail barge here. So upside down block, positive direction for me for the horizontal. I think I ended up leaving that one down. And we'll move it backwards here in the negative direction towards the stern. And a rotation 45 and one way and stop. Alright, I think that leaves us with a couple more pieces and then we can test it out. This piece, because it's right side up, long wedge block, the horizontal for me is negative to get it to move over here to the right hand side. Well, -7. And positive direction and make it move aft. And one way and stop. And I don't think I gave it a rotation. I went one up on the vertical as well. Alright, last block to hook up here. So horizontal again in the positive direction to move it to the right. I went to 8. Forward backwards will be the negative direction to make it move towards the stern. So -19. Yeah, I rotate it around here. Move it back a little bit more. -20, -21, somewhere in there. Movement style, one way and stop. Alright, so I've got a basic shape for this, so let's go ahead and give it a test. I'm going to test it above the ground. I'm saving my game here, do the same. See what I've named mine there. Wasn't quite sure how this was going to work either, that's another reason why I saved it. Go ahead and shoot our target. And everything moves up, and you notice I have the 2 looping pieces because I forgot one way and stop. So just hit your reset button if that happens to you. Then you just have to come find them, go to their properties, and adjust it to one way and stop. And my other piece was this one right here. Took me a little while to find it. And one way and stop. That should fix that problem, and we can go back and give it another test. So I left that in just to show you how to fix that problem if you ever encounter it. So there we go, everything moved up the path. So that'll move up from under the ground as the sail barge moves below the ground when it's destroyed. We have our reset button. Alright, going to save again because I'm happy with that. And 72 Pringle would always say save, save, save. You only need to learn that lesson the hard way once. Alright, so I'm going to grab our path creator and I'm going to drag this down. I grabbed the block by accident. I'm showing this as well. I didn't edit this out just in case you make the same mistake. You can see what my solution is. I'm just going to move it up out of the way here. If you make the same mistake, just place it somewhere out of the way. And we'll come back, and when you hit your reset button, it's back in place. Let's just test it here again. Everything moves up. Everything's correct. And now it'll be easier for me to grab this path creator. And I don't want it sitting right on top of the sail barge. I want to keep them a little bit separated here, so about midway down is good enough. And then we'll grab this path point. Now initially I set this at ground level. I'm going to come back because my pieces were too high. So I'm going to move that one space below the terrain rather than having to adjust the vertical profile of every single block. Or you can leave it like this and adjust the vertical profile of every single block. So see, it's sitting up too high on the ground. I didn't like that. I want it to be submerged into the ground, that the power of the blast forced it down into the sand. So you can see how this is going to give me a problem with these. Right now these pieces that I adjusted the vertical profile for, they're okay until I adjust my my path point. So hit my reset, send it back below the terrain, and I'm going to move this one spot below. And that'll move all the blocks at the same simultaneously down a little bit into the sand. It's really up to you how you want to adjust that. So now when we hit our button here and our debris appears, now you see it's a little bit better. It's into the ground. Now you see that one right there low in the ground? I don't show it, but I actually did come back later on and fix it. I moved it up a little bit. See, this one here is almost not visible. That's why I said don't adjust your vertical properties until you get your path points at the proper location. So now I want to move that vertically up a little bit. So I think I left it at a -1. Actually, I think I'm going to move it up again because you see how it's flickering in the sand there. Actually, that was the piece right there that I just moved, the one I stepped on. Now this one here, it's too low again. You see how it's flickering. I need to fix that as well. Yeah, I'm going to adjust this piece first. Wasn't quite happy with it either. This is what I mean. Once you get your path point set, you can come back and make adjustments and make it look the way you want it to look. I adjusted the forward backward there. I think that made it move back towards the center just a little bit. Now I'm trying to grab this piece here that's flickering. I want to move it up. I think a -1 works. Much better. Now we got these two pieces to contend with. They're not quite where they need to be because I moved them down. I want them to be higher than that. I think I settled on -1 for that block as well. Still not happy with it, so go back and adjust it. Maybe -2 looks better. There we go. That was down into the sand, going over the edge. This one is too. I'm going to move it further out, and it's still too low. So I want that to be sticking out into the opening of the Sarlacc pit as well. So not happy with it. Let's move it up. Forward, backwards. I'm going to move a little bit. That actually moves it in the direction of the bow a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Now these couple of pieces here that are kind of sliding off the edge a bit. So that I'm pretty happy with. Like I said, that one that's low lying in the ground there, I missed that one. I wasn't even paying attention to it, but I have since come and moved that up a vertical position of 1. So it's the nose of it is still buried in the sand, but it's up a little bit higher. But that's the nice thing about this, is you can go back and readjust your settings and position them to get the look that you want it to have. Alright, I'm going to bring this timer here. This is the 10-second timer. This is the 10-second timer that makes the sail barge disappear, clears the replayers, removes Jabba, and it's also going to make this debris field move at the same time. So when the delay is completed, I'm going to do an input, and this will make that debris move up as the sail barge moves down. Let me go ahead and pull this back down. And this reset button pressed, I'm going to do an input here to reset the debris field as it resets the ship, sail barge. So we'll move the debris up. Now I'll reset the ship and the debris. So the sail barge comes back, all the replayer items are back, Jabba's back, and we have our debris field under the ground, and they'll now move opposite of each other. Now let's give it the explosions test. We get our 10 random explosions. Ship disappears and our debris field comes to rest underneath it. So our logic works. One thing I did notice was the explosions didn't quite cover it up enough. So I hit my reset here. So if you recall, we had 4 locators here for the large explosions when the final explosion goes off, and I put them at the base of the hull. I'm going to move all 4 of these down to the ground level just to have that explosion cover that gap a little bit better. So that's what I'm looking for here, is these 4 locators. I'm going to move them down. And there's the other one. I'm going to move this down, and actually I'm going to move it back 1 spot as well. Alright, I think that's good. Alright, we'll give this another explosions test. And I think you'll find by moving these locators, the 4 bottom ones down to the ground, covers that up much better. Gives it a better effect as the ship disappears below the train and the debris takes its place. Hit my reset button there. So I'm liking how that looks. Alright, grab our 2 logic gates here. I'm going to move these down. I'm going to put them in position with the 2 logic gates that control the path for the sail barge, because they're going to be triggered at the same time. As the sail barge moves down, the debris field will move up. Also, I'm satisfied with my debris field and testing it, so I deleted out my 2 buttons, but if you want to keep them for now in case you wanted to test the debris field independently from the sail barge. Alright, one last explosions test here. Another view of it. I just like watching the effects. And that looks good. Alright, moving along with our special effects, we have 3 effects generators here. This first one is hooked up to, I've already connected the locators. I connected 6 locators to the first one. You can see those connections there. The second effects generator with also 6 locators connected to it. Use as many as you like. I went with 6 each. I have 20 locators connected to this third effects generator. This will be for the dirt impacts when the debris field is connected. This is our first time delayer, the one that has the property set to 10 seconds. That's what determines when the 10 random explosions ends, and then sends the signal to start the final massive explosions that destroy the sail barge. So we're going to, when the delay is completed, we're going to come up to our first one and we're going to say play looped. And we'll come on down to fire. Now the first time I selected smoldering fire. Use smoky flames. And I'll show you why here. The smoldering fire is very hard to see. So I actually go back and I selected that to smoldering, or to smoky flames. Again, when the delay is completed, we're going to play looped on our second effects generator, and we'll come down to smoke, and I'm going to use smoke plume. So we're going to have 6 smoky flames and 6 smoke plumes. Alright, new logic connection rather, and when delay completed, now this one we're going to play looped again, come all the way down to impacts, and I selected large dirt impact, that one right there. This is the 2-second time delayer that completes the massive explosions that destroys the sail barge. So that's our 2-second delayer. So once again, we're going to do a new logic connection when the delay is completed. We're going to turn off and go to the third one here, and we're going to stop the looping effects for the dirt impacts. The fires and the smoke plumes will continue to be generated until we're ready to reset the sail barge and play again. So to help with that, I'm going to grab another logic gate here, and we'll do a new logic connection on output. We'll go to our fire effects generator, and we'll say stop looping effects. New logic connection again on output. We'll go to our smoke effects generator, and once again select stop looping effects. This is the reset logic gate for the sail barge. So we'll use this to reset the fire and smoke. So new logic connection on output. Come up to this logic gate and input. I probably could have skipped this logic gate and just gone directly to the 2 effects generators, but I like to kind of keep my logic grouped a bit. I might change this later, but it's not affecting my memory for now. And there you can see this is connected to those first 2 effects generators to stop those looping effects when the sail barge is reset. Alright, here's another lengthy task. Is we're going to start placing our dirt impacts, our locators for our dirt impacts. We're going to place them around the footprint of our debris field. So I have 20 of these already connected. I'm going to try and evenly space them around. I'm not so concerned about the back side here, because I believe what I'm going to have as the main viewing of this is going to be from the desert skiff side. I'm still placing these here in just in case a player's over here. Still haven't decided if I'm going to use a camera view for this. I probably will. Most likely on a path, so that the camera kind of circles around the sail barge as the explosions are occurring, and then the final massive destructive explosion that destroys the sail barge. So you see I'm just trying to line these up, keep them about even spaced, around about an equal distance around the debris field. Not right on top of the debris field, because I want to see the dirt flying, the dirt impacts as the sail barge is destroyed and the debris field is created. So I'm just trying to keep them evenly spaced here. Now I actually added 2 more. I now have 22 of these locators. So right in that little gap right there, I added another one because I wanted to fill that in. I wasn't seeing enough dirt impact. So right in that little gap there, that space, I added a 21st locator. And as we get around here to the stern, I'll indicate where I added my 22nd one. What's cool about these dirt impacts on the kind of the upper rim of the Sarlacc pit is you can see the dirt rolling down inside of the into the Sarlacc pit. So I thought that was kind of a cool effect. A little bit unexpected, but I like the way that turned out. You could also hook up more of these if you want. If you want to exaggerate the dirt impacts, add as many as you like. Alright, this little gap open area here between blocks is where I added my 22nd one. So I actually have another one inside that area to just create an additional dirt impact in the opening. As you see, I'm just trying to decide visually where this will look best. Alright, 7 more of these to place. So yeah, that little open area there, just a little bit there to the left, that opening, that's where I placed an additional locator. And in my preview at the beginning of this video, those two locators were in place. So that's the effect you actually see with the dirt, is the result of 22 of these instead of 20. So I did have the 2 additional locators already placed when I recorded that preview. Decided to move that one in a little bit tighter there. And that's the thing, after you test this, if you're not satisfied with it, you can add more locators, you can move them around to get the desired effect you're looking for. You see there, I'm just readjusting that one a little bit too. So I think this last one here, that open gap towards the stern, yep. So I did put one here, but I put a second one in this same area. So I actually have 2 locators inside that open area. So I placed that one there, and another one is a little bit to the left of it to better fill in that gap. All right, these are our smoking flames, or what I'm going to later change to smoking flames. So I just kind of want to evenly space these out. Don't bunch them together. I particularly like the flames in the smoke plumes coming out of areas where there's bunches of blocks together, like there was maybe heavy, machinery, engines, whatever, power equipment for the operating the sail barge. So I'm trying to put 3 kind of towards the back half of the sail barge for the flames, and the last 3 will go towards the front. I was kind of satisfied with 6 for each of these 2 effects, the flames and the smoke plumes. You could have less or more. Again, it just comes to your personal taste and what looks good to you. Add as many or as few as you like, or change the effects. That's just me grabbing the wrong one. Trying to get all my flames selected first, placed first. You see, move them around and kind of see where you like them. And actually, once the flames are generated and the smoke plumes are generated, if you don't like where it is, you can go back, grab the as the effect is looping, you can grab the your locator and move it around. You can adjust them. I've actually done that as well to separate a couple of them that were too close to each other. They were kind of covering each other up, so I spread them apart, you know, a couple of spaces. So now I'm placing my smoke plume locators, 6 of them. Again, trying to keep 3 towards the front half and 3 towards the back half. And 2 more to place. Again, randomize these up. And last one. See, I know I have a fire right there, so I don't want to put it in the same place. I guess I put it pretty close though. So like I said, do those the way you want to. So go ahead and reset our sail barge and our debris field. And Jabba's there. So replayers and the friend generator have worked correctly. And let's give this an explosions test. Dirt impacts, we have our fire. Now you see I'm noticing here, because I picked smoldering flames, they're barely visible. You can see them a little bit, but from a distance you're not going to really see them. All you're going to see is these big smoke plumes. So we're going to go back, didn't like that choice. So we're going to go back to my fire effects generator here and come down to the time delayer, which creates that logic. So when the delay is completed, I'm going to play looped fire. I'm just going to move it up there to smoky flames. And we'll go ahead and reset everything. Make sure everything's back. There's Jabba, I can see him in there. And now let's test it again. That's the nice thing about the ability to reset this is if you don't like what you originally did, reset it and go back and make adjustments to your logic or the position of your locators. You can add locators, remove locators. Now that looks much better because now the flames stand out as much as the smoke plumes do. And they're creating their own black smoke, so I like that as well. So I was pretty happy with my result here. Just give you this overhead spark tour look at it. Like I said, if you're not happy with it, you in spark mode with the flames and smoke being generated, just go down to the center of the smoke plume or the flame, find your locator, pick it up and adjust it. Alright, I'll reset it there. My last section here, I'm going to do some logic cleanup. You don't have to do this. The logic's working fine the way it is, but I'm going to combine some of my logic gates for events that occur at the same time. And that's what I'm going to do here in the final concluding section of the video. So here's the logic gate that reset and plays the path creator for the for the sail barge to make it disappear, and this is the reset and stop logic gate that makes it reappear above the ground to replay. This logic gate was the reset and play for the path creator for the debris field, and this was the reset and stop logic gate to make it to remove it back underground. So I'm going to delete those two out. So I'm going to use my reset and play logic gate here. So new logic connection on output, and we're going to go over here and find the path creator for the debris field, and we're going to select reset and play. So now we're using that single logic gate to make the sail barge and the debris field move at the same time. And our reset and stop logic gate here, we'll do another new logic connection on output. We'll come back to the path creator for our debris field, and we're going to select reset and stop. So the sail barge and the debris field will now reset at the same time to play again. I also use these logic gates to control clearing the replayers and the friend generator, this left-hand logic gate. And this logic gate, when we want to replay, replays the replayers and makes Jabba appear again inside the sail barge. So I'm also going to get rid of those. I'm going to make new connections. So I'm going to come back to our on logic gate here, and on output we're going to select clear on all three of these replayers. So new logic connection again on output. We'll do a clear. So when the sail barge is disappearing below the train, the replayers are clearing their items, making the ledge hang, the railings, and the AT-AT cannons disappear. Again, new logic connection on output. We also want to come over to our friend generator, come all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to remove Jabba. So select remove all. Now we've got to make our connections for our reset. So new logic connection on output. We're going to select replay on our playback on our three replayers. So that will, when the sail barge comes back up to the top of the surface to replay, it'll add back in the AT-AT cannons, our railings on the upper deck, and the ledge hang to climb up into the sail barge. So new logic connection output, playback for all three of those. And we need to get Jabba back, so once again, new logic connection on output. Come over to your friend generator, and we can select Rise Against the Empire and Jabba the Hutt. So that just removed 4 logic gates. There's actually some more combinations that we can do, but I decided not to. So this time delayer here is what, when the 10 seconds is up, will trigger an input signal to this logic gate, which will make the sail barge move below the train, the debris field move up. It'll clear all of the replayers and remove Jabba. So all of those things happen simultaneously, so that's why I'm using just these 2 logic gates to control the events and the reset. And that's our reset logic gate when we want to replay the level. So test out our buttons here. We have our debris field, and the sail barge and everything has disappeared. Debris field's back under the ground. Our replayers are working. Our friend generator's working. Sail barge has reappeared. And let's give it one final explosions test here. All of our new logic connections are correct. Everything's working. We have our phase 1 debris field is complete, along with its special effects of smoking flames and smoke plumes. Go ahead and reset it here. So once again, thanks for watching. If you're using my instructions to create your own Battle at the Sarlacc Pit and sail barge. I hope it's going well. And phase 2, I'll be looking for that. I still have to develop it, but that will be the individual flying debris for the random explosions. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.